Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Today, we're going to be speaking about everything going on around the club at the moment to do with Chelsea. Two players highlighted, as you would have seen in the thumbnail. We're definitely going to be talking about Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell. Not that they're the only players that we need to sell. Obviously, there are other players out there that Chelsea would like to get rid of. But these two present a different kind of issue when we're looking to offload them as opposed to other players. Well, we haven't really struggled. And actually, you would say we've got great deals for a lot of the players that we've sold. You look at Broha, you look at Chilwell, we've sold both of those recently. Petrovic, I mean, the list goes on. Bashir Humphreys, Felix Madueke, Samuel Smith, Amugu. We have, I mean, Kepa, like we've been able to get rid of people, haven't we? We've not struggled to get rid of so-called dead weight or just players that don't want to be here. And we've done it on our terms. You know, we haven't sold players and had that sort of kick in the teeth. And I feel like with Sterling and Chilwell, those are two players we have to accept we are going to make a loss on them. And if we don't make a loss on them, we're going to lose money regardless because of their wages. Their wages are a huge, huge problem. And everyone knows this. And this is why we haven't been able to get rid of them on permanent deals. Obviously, Arsenal took Sterling on loan. And Crystal Palace took Ben Chilwell. And both of them have tried to regain some sort of form in terms of getting game time and then obviously playing well. They still haven't really featured much. I mean, you look at the Premier League campaign this season, Sterling playing very limited minutes for Arsenal. And only featuring in 28 games, a lot of those games off the bench or against opposition, to be quite frank, he shouldn't be taken seriously. Very limited minutes. And with Ben Chilwell, obviously, his loan spell was a little bit later than Sterling's. That was in January. He's only been involved in 12 games for them. So when you look at what we spent on both of these players, almost £100 million combined, just under that mark. Are we going to get anything close to that if we were to sell them now? I think the answer is very obvious. It's very clear. It's no. It's not going to happen. We won't be getting good fees for this guy. We certainly won't be breaking even. And you know, Chelsea have dropped their demands for Raheem Sterling from, I think it was something stupid like 40 million to 20. Okay. And Ben Chilwell as well. I think this is just a player we want to get rid of ASAP. Although, in fairness, he's 28 years old. So, I mean, there is still time for something to happen there. Whereas Sterling's in his 30s now, it's always harder to move players on, especially when they're on a high wage. And he's on 325k a week. So Chelsea have a big issue there moving those two players on. And I think if we can manage to do that, if we can literally, I mean, there's so many boxes that we've spoken about, getting a striker in, getting cover for Cucurella, midfield depth, having options in the wing. All of these boxes have been ticked. And even getting rid of a lot of the players that I mentioned earlier, like we've been able to do it. And there's plenty more players that will be leaving. But those two, I think, are very unique in the sense that they're not high in demand. Their stock isn't high. And if Chelsea can get anything done for those players, I think regardless of a transfer fee, I think it's just sensational because it's just the epitome of a proper rebuild. And again, it's a testament to what we've done. Like, no doubt we've spent a lot of money. We've spent the second most in the league. The only team who have spent less than Chelsea this window in the Premier League is Liverpool by about 12 million. They've spent 252 million. We've spent 240. But we've sold more than anyone else. And again, the only team that have sold anything close to us is Liverpool. They've sold 114 million pounds worth of players. We've sold 136. So we are on the front foot in every single way at the moment. And our spending isn't done. I mean, we've got 2 transfers pending. I think we'll probably end up getting those over the line with Xavi Simons and Garnacho. Not to mention countless sales that can still be achieved so we can meet our revenues. That is the reality of where we are. We are in a really strong position, a very strong position. If we continue to push on, I would argue this is one of the best transfer windows in the modern history of Chelsea. You could argue in Chelsea's, I mean, certainly one of the best this in my lifetime. Can you think of a better one if we actually go on to achieve the things I'm talking about? Again, bringing in Garnacho, bringing in Xavi Simons, obviously Garnacho at an affordable price, not a silly one. Being able to sell players like Sterling and Chilwell, I mean, it would be unbelievable. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens there. There's plenty of questions that people have. Now, it's been very busy. Obviously, Hato signed for us recently. We've also managed to bring in Jesse Derry, who's an under-19 midfielder. He chose to run down his contract at Crystal Palace, and then he came to Chelsea. We got rid of João Felix, Ugochukwu, and Broha. Thank you, Burnley. Dewsbury Hall's gone as well. Didn't even mention him. Mark Guillon on loan to Sunderland, Strasbourg. We've got all those deals laid out as well. It's very, very interesting. It's fascinating to watch us. But it is being reported that, and this is from The Athletic, that we are still very much looking at Garnacho and Xavi Simons. Those deals are not going away, but those deals depend on player exits. So this news comes after the sale of Broha and Ugochukwu as well. This isn't something that was before. So we've already raised 40 million. At least 20 million of that is profit from Broha. How much more do we need to raise in order to go ahead with these deals? So I don't actually know the answer, but it does make you think, well, if we're going to bring in these two players, and realistically, you've got 50, 60 million for Xavi Simons, I would say between 30 and 40 for Garnacho. So just over 100 million to be spent. That means you've got to raise about 100 million as well. So where is that money coming from? And how are we going to do it in a timely fashion? Because Garnacho and Simons are obviously interested. I think Garnacho doesn't have that many suitors at the moment, so that's a different story. But Simons, he wants to get this done. We're seeing that he wanted this done weeks ago, and Leipzig are really taking their time in these negotiations. We do have other players on our wish list. Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers has been spoken about as well. But I think the big difference between him and Xavi Simons is just a difference on price, right? You're probably going to spend an extra £20 million on a player like Morgan Rogers. And I would still say that's probably a better signing than Xavi Simons, but I can totally understand why Chelsea are looking at Xavi Simons regardless. Let's not act like it's a bad deal. It's a good deal. It's a good deal for everyone. And he's only got a year left on his contract anyway, so that it's not like Leipzig want him to run down his contract. They want him to either renew for a longer deal or go so they can hopefully make a little bit of profit as well. And that seems to be the stance a lot of people are are taking with this one. Now, Nkunku is valued at £43 million by Chelsea. He's been given permission to miss the start of pre-season training. He's the subject of inquiries from a number of clubs in England, Italy, and Germany. I can see him probably being moved on. I was very keen on potentially keeping Nkunku in the squad because I do think that he had a good Club World Cup campaign. I think he improved as the tournament went on. But I can appreciate that from his perspective, having limited game time last season, now watching all these other players we're being linked with, that's his spot. I mean, he's just going further and further down the hierarchy. So no surprises there if Nkunku goes. Aaron Amsamina will also be sent on loan. There's a number of teams in Europe that have made inquiries. He needs to develop and gain some experience. And then obviously we've got new players coming in. Gittins Esteval, Delap, Pedro, João Pedro as well. Lots of cover in the midfield with Asugo and Santos. Is come out from Simon Johnson saying that Chelsea do believe they have improved their squad. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that, to be quite frank. I mean, if anyone thinks we've got worse, I'm not really understanding the logic there, to be quite frank. I really don't know. And there's still plenty of things that are going to happen. I mean, we're speaking with Man United about Garnacho. There's been no bid. No formal bid has been made for Xavi Simons either. But again, this is why Morgan Rogers' name is coming up, because if there isn't a genuine openness from Leipzig to negotiate with Chelsea, I do think that Chelsea are one of these teams now that have shown they are willing to walk away from a deal if it doesn't suit them. And I think we've learned from some of our past mistakes in terms of just overspending on players when we haven't needed to. I mean, this has been a very mixed window in that sense. I think the majority of deals we've done, we've actually got good value, but there has been a couple where I would say we've overpaid, like João Pedro, like Jamie Gittins. Those are examples. But then you look at the flip side at Hato and Delap. That's great value for us. So you got some good, you got some bad. I think we've got more good things going for us at the moment than the other. Chelsea are also talking with Tyreek George's representatives to figure out the best options going forward. A straight loan is still a possibility, but Chelsea will not consider any proposals, including an option to buy. A permanent sale is being discussed too, but Chelsea would like to include a buyback clause and a sell-on fee. So tough negotiating from us. I think that's going to put off a lot of clubs who would be interested in Tyreek George, because we'll be looking for top dollar, which will be more than 20 million, probably 25 to 30. If we're looking at what Bro has going for, and that's 20, and Ugachuk was 20, I think Tyreek George is probably worth a little bit more than those in the modern market. But if I wasn't looking at those signings as a comparison, then I would probably say 15 to 25 million. That's the range, but I think Chelsea will probably look in a little bit higher, maybe 25 to 30. And it's a shame that Tyreek George wants to go, but again, similar to Nkunku, when you see all these new players coming in, it's very, very difficult not to empathize and just think, fair play, mate. Like, you want to go out and play football, you can't do that here at Chelsea. You will not get more game time this season than you had last season. I struggle to see that. The only area Chelsea will not add it to, and this has been confirmed from Simon Johnson again, is the goalkeeping position, which a lot of people are unhappy about. My opinion was very simple. I was happy with bringing in Magnan, but I was okay with not going through that deal because I was so keen on Petrovic, and then Petrovic left, and now we've got Robert Sanchez in goal. But, you know, let's not get it twisted. This guy had a great campaign in the Club World Cup. Brilliant finish. Still very, very doubtful that he'll perform over 38 games in the Premier League. But listen, like Maresca, prove me wrong, and that is all I can ask from any player. Prove us wrong, prove the fan base wrong, show us what you can do. We've obviously got Jorgensen as well, who apparently a European club made a bid for, but Chelsea rejected it. We still don't know which club that is. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And yeah, just to finish it off as well, the new limited edition anniversary shirt for Chelsea, 120 years in the making, is out. Big up to Chelsea. Happy birthday. You know, happy birthday to Chelsea Football Club, 120 years old. Founded in 1905. We are here to stay, and we are here to hopefully remain at the elite and the top of world football. But that's pretty much the rundown from me, guys. Let me know what you think about Sterling and Ben Chilwell, whether it's going to be easy to move those two on. I personally think it's going to be very difficult unless you're basically giving them away for free, especially Chilwell. But anything can happen in this world of football. Anything can happen. So, yeah, all the best, guys, and we will catch up very